Our coverage of today's second hostage release continues. 13 Israeli women and children and 4 Thai nationals set free after 50 days in captivity in Gaza's network of tunnels in exchange for 39 Palestinian prisoners Israel was holding. The IDF says those freed hostages are now in Israel. Let's bring in Mike Sarraille, a retired Navy SEAL officer and former recon Marine. He is also CEO of Talent War Group. As you look at this hostage negotiation, the swap, Palestinian prisoners for Israeli and Thai hostages and the others released yesterday, what's your big picture thinking, Mike, about how all of this is going and turning out?
Well, John, let me say this. My heart goes out to the families that have been reunited with their loved ones. There's no greater way to ease their pain. But in the larger context, what you have is Hamas, who's emboldened by this ceasefire, especially in a deal where 3 Palestinian prisoners are released for every 1 military hostage. Hamas is overplaying their hand here. They believe they're in a strong position because they're winning the information war and this relentless anti-Israel media campaign across the globe, which includes, unfortunately, a lot of Americans in the street. What I'm fearful about, and what Lucas just brought up, is that in that exchange of 1,000 Palestinian prisoners in 2006, amongst them was Yahya Sinwar, who's one of the leaders of Hamas and the mastermind of the October 7th massacre. So we've got to be cautious about the decisions and the prisoners we release today. It will have impacts down the road.
So what would be your advice to the Israelis? I mean, war. They have said that they are not going to let up in Gaza until all of those prisoners, all of those hostages are released and until Hamas is eradicated. Can they do that?
They can. Israel has a phrase from the Holocaust, never again. That should be the end goal, is the eradication of Hamas and bringing all of the hostages home, whether dead or alive, preferably alive. But you've got to understand, too, that this deal is playing to Hamas. It's a win-win for Hamas. If Israel, which is between a rock and a hard place, if they didn't do this, they would not be viewed as a civilized democracy committed to diplomacy and solving problems. But John, let's not forget, there is no diplomacy when dealing with terrorists. So I think this is a morally strategic dilemma for Israel. And quite frankly, I think it's extremely fragile, and eventually combat operations will resume.
You mentioned the fact that there are so many pro-Palestinian protests around the globe. Alan Dershowitz wrote an interesting piece in which he, was forced to remind the world that, first of all, the Palestinian people in Gaza elected Hamas as their leadership back in 2006. And, he reminded us that there was that Hamas terrorist on October 7th who picked up a phone and called home and said, "Oh, Mom and Dad, I'm so excited. You should be so proud of me. I killed 10 of these Jews." And his father says, "Oh, congratulations, son. That's great." I mean, it's hard to separate the Palestinian people from Hamas, which is the government that they elected.
John, it's sanity in an insane world. About 2 Sundays ago, I went to brunch with my wife here in Austin, Texas. And as we stepped into the restaurant, there was all these young college kids wearing Palestinian headdresses for a pro-Palestinian demonstration. And I found it so odd. What I think a lot of Americans lack is perspective, which we can say is a lack of world travel. They haven't been to third world countries or war-torn countries.
Right.
And they don't understand. Now, if this massacre, this brutality, dismemberment, mutilation, rape, decapitation took place in America, we would not forget. We would not soon forget. And I think I need to remind the American people, during 9/11, Palestinian people were celebrating in the streets at the loss of 3,000 American lives. We can never let our memory be a short memory. It's got to be long-standing. And Hamas has said Hamas doesn't care about a two-country state. They care about the destruction of Israel and the annihilation of all Jews. They've said it. That is their goal.
You have obviously been a warrior as a Navy SEAL. I'm sure you have been on some, intense hostage rescue efforts. When you see these hostages coming out, we just had a picture up of the Sheba Medical Center, which is where this latest batch of 17 is going to be taken for medical evaluations. But it must, tell us what goes through your mind when you see, these folks being released after 50 days in the hands of terrorists.
Well, John, I appreciate saying I'm a warrior, but I'll tell you, I was surrounded by them, lucky to be around them. With a hostage rescue mission, it is the one mission where the guys will put their lives at risk for speed to get to the hostages as quickly as possible. And there have been many cases where during an active gunfight, our service members have jumped on a hostage, not knowing if they're going to be shot in the back to protect them.
Mike Sarraille, we have a commercial break coming up. I asked you too much question for you to answer. I appreciate your time tonight. Mike Sarraille.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.